Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of my F1 2021 My Team Career Mode, the season finale of Season 1, episode number 16 today in Abu Dhabi. And yeah, it's been an interesting last couple of races. We've had 2 DNFs in the last 3 races, so that's not ideal. Admittedly, one of those was my fault for forgetting to switch in the less worn components, and I left the practice ones in. But you can see the R&D chart briefly there. But yeah, in the last episode we had a DNF with a gearbox failure, and that was just purely random. There's nothing we could have done about that, and it was a shame because in both of those races we definitely could have potentially scored points. Definitely potentially. But anyway, let's focus on what is going on screen at the moment. We're on our second flyer in qualifying, but it wasn't very good, and I'm not too optimistic about our chances of getting out of Q1 even here. So we'll have a scroll down the list, and yeah, we're knocked out. We're even beaten by Williams of George Russell, who was able to get through there. We are 4th last. So yeah, no pace here in Abu Dhabi. You would have seen on the lap we just had no sense of rhythm, and I actually didn't realize until now that after that gearbox failed, because we hadn't completed enough races with it, we'd actually need to take a gearbox penalty anyway, so we're going to switch in a new one and go with that. But anyway, let's get into the race.
It's time then for one final race in this year's Formula One World Championship. 2010 saw 4 drivers in contention for the title coming into this race, with Sebastian Vettel prevailing to become the youngest world champion to date. Is there one last sting in the tail awaiting us today? Well, it's time to find out. Here comes the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. We have 21 corners here at the Yas Marina circuit, 12 to the left and 9 to the right. It's a total lap distance of just over 3.4 miles. There are 2 long back straights opening up some passing opportunities into the braking zones, and we expect average lap speeds of around 123 miles an hour. It's time to see how our drivers are stacking up after yesterday's exciting qualifying session. It's Sergio Perez on pole position today, and it's Lewis Hamilton alongside. As we continue through the rest of the grid today, we have Bottas, Verstappen. They'll be starting further back after an earlier grid penalty. Charles Leclerc and Fernando Alonso. Vettel, Sato, Tsunoda, and Daniel Ricciardo. They've taken a grid penalty. Gasly, Russell, Antonio Giovinazzi, and Sainz. They'll be starting further back after an earlier grid penalty. The scientist, Ocon, Nikita Mazepin, and Lando Norris. Stroll, Mick Schumacher, Latifi, and Kimi Raikkonen finishes off the grid. Which of these talented drivers will come out on top today?
It's been a long season, but let's try to end it on a high note.
So here we go then for the final race of the season. As you would have seen on the grid sequence, even though we took a penalty, we actually moved further up the grid, or at least that would have been the case, except we took the penalty too late after qualifying, so that breaks Parc Fermé, and that sends us to the back of the grid anyway. But that's an interesting little quirk to see, that we would have started up in 15th despite qualifying in 19th I think. But we're going to start on the medium tyres and go from there, and it looks like quite a number of others are on the mediums as well. It's a pretty mixed up strategy as we get ready for the formation lap, as we have to wait a long time. We put that in fast forward.
All the gears if you can. We need to make sure the engagement is okay before the start. We're going to want to put some temperature into the tyres and brakes. We need to keep the engine cool though, so don't go too high with the revs.
But yeah, I'm thinking I'll get the medium tyres out the way early and finish the race probably on a softer compound if possible, and then we can be faster at the end, and at the start while we're stuck in traffic. It won't matter too much. That way we won't be wasting our good tyres. As Kimi Raikkonen just goes for a spin on the formation lap. What on earth, Kimi? That's a weird one. I've never seen that before. what happens now? Is he gonna... Oh, he just teleports onto the grid. That's fine. Let's go to the 5. Red lights. And it's lights out and away we go for the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, and it's a decent start for us, a great one for Nicholas Latifi. He's immediately going to try and gain some places down towards the first corner. We're going to take it very cautiously indeed, heading down into turn 1 for the first time, giving plenty of space to the cars ahead. I don't want to get involved in anything in the early phases of this one because damaging the car is not ideal. Starting on the medium tyres, I want to make sure we keep the car in good condition so we can run long in this first stint. So yeah, that is why we're being so cautious now, even though we could probably be gaining a place or two here and there. I just want to take it easy and assess the situation in the race, and we'll make overtakes later on when the field spreads out a little bit and there's a little bit less risk involved. So that is the plan of attack. For this one, we have a little look up the inside of Raikkonen, but no move to be made there, and we actually may have just about grazed his left rear tyre there with the front wing. No significant damage, or visibly no significant damage there, so that's alright. But we go on board with our teammate to see what he saw from the start, and he actually made a really great start. He goes down the inside into the first corner. He's going to gain a couple of places here, and he barges his way through, but that's helped him up into, I think that's 5th position. He's only got the 2 Mercs and Red Bulls in front of him, so it's been a fantastic start for Marino Sato, and he is flying high up in 5th position, so that is fantastic stuff for our young teammate. But meanwhile, we are still trying to chase down Kimi Räikkönen now on lap 2 of the race, and there's still quite a train of cars, so we're going to use that to our advantage to get around the outside of Kimi Räikkönen. We get the nose in just enough through the second part of the chicane to force him to give us the room, and we get through on Kimi Räikkönen up into second last place, up into 21st, so that is great. But as we continue on, we are still struggling this race, and we're not really finding any pace at all, and you can see Kimi Räikkönen is just going to blow straight back past us here along the next straight, and we've got no choice other than to let him go. We're going to see if we can fight back around the outside. Very late on the brakes there, but we do manage to get the car stopped, turn it around, and maintain the position ahead of Kimi Räikkönen for now. But this is not the progress I thought I'd be making. I want to be gaining more positions. VSE deployed. What happens here? That's Marino Sato, Fernando Alonso, and Charles Leclerc all coming together there as they head into the chicane, and it looked like Charles Leclerc came off worst out of that, as yeah, he just got pinched in the middle. Sato going deep to try and maintain the position. Alonso probably not quite realizing that there were 2 cars on his inside and really only leaving space for one, and Charles Leclerc was just trying to back out of all that in the middle, and was not quite able to get out of the way. But Sato doing a good job there to hold on to the position. Here's another replay that shows a bit of a better angle. But yeah, Charles Leclerc nowhere to go there, and it all looks like Carlos Sainz may have knocked that piece of debris. Let's hope there's no issues for him, as Tsunoda locked up, seeing all that unfold in front of him, but looks like Sainz was able to get away with it. Meanwhile, Charles Leclerc is in the pits for a new front wing, obviously the old one completely torn apart, so that will be a relief for him to get that on the car so he can start forging his way back forwards in this race. Now, once the race gets back underway, Fernando Alonso tries to go around the outside of Marino Sato to the inside, and now they're going to continue this fight side by side up towards the triple chicane, and Fernando Alonso gets through. Now Daniel Ricciardo going for the move, as well as Sebastian Vettel, so Sato without the help of DRS, as there's maybe a bit of contact there in the braking zone. It was very close if not, but Sato getting involved in the action and getting a few more knocks to the car. He's already had a couple in this race, so he's being very aggressive in this one, trying to force his way through the field and trying to hold on to these positions that he gained at the start.
That front wing, it'll need replacing if it takes too much damage. No need
but
to worry about
I can't really
now. Everything's looking good.
can't really judge because we've damaged our own front wing as well in our battles with Kimi Räikkönen. So we're both being a bit aggressive today, and we've both got front wing damage, it seems.
Right, we have 2 stops left in this strategy. We have 2 stops planned. Your pit window opens in 16 laps time.
And yeah, we've got a long time until our pit window opens, and with that front wing damage, it's going to be a bit of a painful time. This is Sato coming into the pits to change his front wing, and he will move off and continue on with his race, but that's put him further down the order than we would have liked. We try and make the move down the inside and make a stick on Kimi Räikkönen once again, and for how many times is that now? We retake that position, but yeah, as we continue on, we are going to gain another place as Lance Stroll makes the pit stop, so potentially some of the soft tyre runners that started in the top 10 maybe will be starting to feel some tyre wear on the soft tyres, so they might be coming in earlier than we would expect, but yeah, we do actually end up finding a bit of pace as we continue through this race, and we make the move stick around the outside quite nicely there of Mick Schumacher, so that was a decent little move there.
P15.
And next up is Nicholas Latifi. We have a good run along the straight with the help of a bit of DRS as we go down the inside of Nicholas Latifi, and we'll make the move stick nicely through the chicane, and we get through ahead of the Williams driver. And next up, that probably doesn't matter, as all that is an AlphaTauri going for a spin and reversing back onto the road there. That's not very good, but he managed to move it out of the way. That is Pierre Gasly in the AlphaTauri there. Let's see what happens. And we did it on his own, just a little bit too many hamburgers on the accelerator there, and he goes for a spin. Meanwhile, we are overtaken by Charles Leclerc, who is on much fresher tyres.
Focus. We need to stay on form.
But we got a good run here, and we're going to try and go back around the outside of Charles Leclerc after we got a great exit out of the final corner. It gives us the room, so we're going to keep this fight going around the outside of turn 2 to the inside of turn 3. Can we keep this going? No, we give it up. We realise that there's no point continuing this fight because Charles Leclerc is always going to get through at one point or another. We don't need to fight him at this stage of the race. If it was the closing laps, of course we'd go for it, but yeah, right now there's no chance we're going to beat Charles Leclerc, so we're just going to let him go and do his own thing. But yeah, we continue on then, and I've decided, you know what, enough is enough. We're not gaining any time on the cars in front, so even though these tyres are still okay, they're still in decent condition, we're going to pit, and we're going to go onto another set of medium tyres and get a new front wing on the car, and hopefully that will be a better strategy for us. We still should be able to make it to the end on one more stop from here. This would just be quite a long stint on medium tyres before we go to the softs at the end, but I think it's the best chance we have of getting decent points in this race is to do this. So that is what we are going to do as we get back underway for racing once again. So we continue on and catch up to Mazepin. We're going to go for the move around the outside of the Haas driver, and I think he's having some car issues in this one because he's dropped quite a way back. So yeah, unfortunate for him, but we get through nonetheless and gain another place. We continue on, and as more cars make pit stops, we will gain some positions that way as well. So it'll be quite hard to tell with a variety of different strategies playing out in this race, different starting tyres, different numbers of pit stops for different drivers. It's going to be tricky to follow who is where, but we'll just go off our current position. But at the moment that is under debate as Nicholas Latifi goes soaring past along the straight there. So he had great straight line speed and we had no answer for that. So yeah, that's unfortunate. We are still fighting with Latifi. So we continue on, catch up to Latifi once again. We go to the outside, and we'll try and make this move stick around the outside into the chicane. We do so and get back through ahead of Latifi up into 16th position at the moment, as more cars have made stops around us, and we've gained more places, and that will continue as we move up into 15th along the main straight, as more pit stops are being made. So we could be in a decent position here overall, but only time will tell. By the time we actually get to the last round of stops, only then will we really know where we stand in this one. But yeah, Charles Leclerc was briefly behind us. He is now ahead of us, and already stretching away and pulling further and further ahead. We continue on again though, and we gain a few positions back. We're up into 14th now.
You've moved up to P14. P14.
And we are once again chasing down Kimi Raikkonen, who was able to get the jump on us earlier on after we made that front wing change. So here we go then. Can we pass Kimi Raikkonen now as we head down into the chicane round the outside of Kimi Raikkonen, and we will get that done pretty easily and get ahead of the Iceman. So that is nice. But we continue on then, and now we are getting closer and closer to the points, as we're now up into 11th position.
Moved up into P11.
And we've got Fernando Alonso in front of us. And Alonso, he is really struggling. Look how slow he's going through this section of the track. So it's going to be critical that we get past Alonso as we go flying off the road there, just trying to avoid him as he was defending that position. But we managed to make it work anyway, despite the avoiding action we had to take. But now we're up into the top 10 ahead of Fernando Alonso. We can just try and push away as we go for a big slide through the final sector all the way around, and we managed to keep it under control. Alonso gets back past us, but we managed to save the car and keep it all under control and all in one piece. But that was a mega slide through this section of the track. That is an awesome drift there. Not good for the tyre temperatures, not good for the track position, but nonetheless, that was, I'll be honest, that was kind of satisfying at the time. That was cool, but it's not very often you can get away with that in a Formula 1 car. But we put the pressure on Alonso. He had a lock up into the first chicane. We got through into the second one, but in the process, Carlos Sainz got past both of us as he were very slow through the final sector. Sainz was very quick, so Sainz is through, and we lose that place. So it's one step forward, one step back, and then one step forward once again as we get past Lando Norris in the pit lane. So yeah, this strategy is actually sort of working for us. We've got one more stop to go, but so will everyone else. So yeah, things are going okay at the moment. We've just been rear-ended there into the through the final sector. It's that hairpin. This was on board with Lando Norris, and he's got a wheel off. Lando Norris is now out after he ran into the back of us. That is huge for Lando Norris, out of the final race. He ends his season a few laps early, and Marino Sato was having his own moment through that corner as well.
At the end of this lap.
The safety car is out, and we are going to box onto the hard compound tyres, which may seem like an odd choice, but they will be able to get us to the end, and we can always defend to hold on to the track position as best we can.
We want to finish the race on this compound.
So that is the plan of attack. The plan of attack is to defend. We are currently in 14th position. There will be a lot of cars ahead of us making pit stops between now and the end of the race. That will give us a bunch of track position.
We're currently investigating.
And now our car has an issue, so that could all go out the window in one moment if this is a serious issue and we have to retire the car. Let's certainly hope not, but it is always a possibility when you hear that kind of message.
With our ERS, the issue seems to be fixed, but we will keep monitoring it our end. Right, pick up the pace a touch, please.
So
we need to close to within 10 car lengths of the car ahead.
It seems that it's only a minor issue that has, for the time being, resolved itself. So thankfully, it seems we won't need to worry about it too much. But not good having that kind of those kind of issues running in the background. But anyway, we will get going once again.
By 5/10 a lap.
And we get an absolutely rubbish restart, and we have no Well, that's Mazepin right in the way there on the apex of the corner. To be fair, he didn't really have anywhere to go, but that was very, very awkward there with Nikita Mazepin a lap down. He's definitely had some issues in this race. I think he's the only car who's been lapped, and yeah, he's been very, very slow the whole time, so he's definitely got something wrong in that Haas car. But yeah, that was a very, very awkward moment there as we were just about to tip it into turn 2, and Mazepin was right there in a very awkward place, but it's also very difficult to get out of the way when you're sort of already on the inside of a corner. You can't really go anywhere, so yeah, to be fair, he didn't really have many places to hide there. But anyway, as we continue on, we get past Kimi Räikkönen and move ourselves up into 13th. We should have a counter of how many times I've overtaken Räikkönen in this race, but it's happened again, and we can now shift our attention forwards once again to the Ferraris that are ahead of us. We probably won't really have the pace to attack them because we are on the hard compound tyres, so we're really more focused on defending this one for the most part, as we defend very harshly. Ocon actually cuts the corner there to try and get ahead of us, but it gives him a really tight exit, and we are thankfully able to hold on around the outside. And Ocon spun. Ocon has had a major issue there, as wow, that was a very weird moment there. I'm not actually sure how to call that one. And that's it. What's happened here? Sainz has just done the same thing. On the exit of the corner, we missed the apex, and on the exit, Sainz has just bonked into the side of us. He didn't really spin, just sort of bounced off, and he was able to catch the car, whereas Ocon came to a full stop. But both of them having a very similar issue. Yeah, that was a bit weird. I don't know how to really call that, but anyway, Sainz is still right behind us, putting the pressure on, and well, he must have made a pit stop to be behind us. But yeah, because I just called that he was ahead of us a moment ago. But anyway, we are still defending as hard as we can from Carlos Sainz, and as we head into this corner once again, we get another hit from behind from Carlos Sainz. So Sainz getting very, very aggressive, and on this occasion,
taken a little damage, but the effect should be minimal.
It's given us some damage. Unfortunately, I didn't hit the flashback button very early, so we only saw that very briefly on the replay camera, but you get the idea. Sainz broke too late behind us and ran into the back of us. Meanwhile, we are now fighting away once again with Sebastian Vettel for what is now 7th position, as many pit stops have been made. This is what I said my plan was, to run to the end. We'll gain lots of positions, and as long as we can defend, even if that defending is just sending it into the corner like we had to do there, it will work out for us, because once we are in the in sector 3, there's no way they're going to get past there. There's no real places to overtake in sector 3, nor is there in sector 1, so it's just 2 big straights that we have to watch out for. So as long as we can brake late enough into the chicanes, we should be fairly difficult to pass. So that is the plan, and we are so far executing that plan very well. Sebastian Vettel does get through there, but we should have some benefit from the slipstream along the straight. So let's see if we can re-overtake him. We have good straight line speed here. We go to the inside of Sebastian Vettel as we go on board with Marino Sato here, and we will get through ahead of Vettel, and Sato being very opportunistic there, and he manages to get through as well, as he's actually still running side by side. Vettel there still on the outside line of Sato, and as we go back on board with ourselves, you can see them fighting away behind as we head into this section once again, and it looks like Sato was able to win out there. So we are actually going to let Sato through. We don't want to be holding up our teammate. He can push on and get ahead, get further ahead of the chasing pack, and we're just going to hold this lot behind us for as long as we can, and keep them as far away from Sato as possible, basically, to make sure he can secure 7th position for us, because that is a decent haul of points, and we'll hold on to 8th if we can, but we have so many fast cars behind us, it's not going to be easy, as we are still fighting away with Vettel in the background. Every lap it's just defend along the straights, but it's working out for us so far, as now it's actually George Russell on this occasion trying to make the move. He goes to the inside. We're going to try and hold this one around the outside. We'll have the inside for the right-hander, and we'll hold off George Russell there as we get a bit of wheel spin on the exit, but we managed to keep things under control and maintain the position ahead of George Russell, and they're going to start fighting away behind it once again. We continue on. Once again, George Russell gets through. We're going to go for the move back up the inside. No, we can't quite get there. This time we're just going to have to follow Russell through and try and aim for a better exit here. And we'll see if we can re-overtake him this way as we sit in the slipstream of George Russell. I didn't hear the DRS beep, so maybe we don't have that advantage this time. We're going to go for a big lunge though down the inside of Russell. Very late there, and maybe a bit of contact made with the Brit, but we get through nonetheless and move ourselves ahead of George Russell. Move on again though, and we've got double trouble. George Russell on one side, Fernando Alonso on the other as we head down towards the chicane. We're going to go switch to the inside, late on the brakes, 3 wide as we give a little bit of contact there with George Russell, and we're 3 wide still heading through the corner. We have to catch the car, and they made a lot of contact with each other, did Russell and Alonso, as now our DRS has failed, so that's why we couldn't use it there. And now both Russell and Alonso had to make pit stops for new front wings. I didn't catch the replay footage of that, but it happened, and they've both dropped down the order, and we are once again defending from Carlos Sainz, who is coming back into the fight after he damaged his front wing. We're going to try and go back up the inside of the Ferrari into the chicane. We're trying to roll it through and carry the speed, and just make sure we keep our car ahead of Sainz. That is the key here, and we've got another hit from behind into that corner. They've been very, very aggressive there, and that again was Carlos Sainz in particular. So yeah, they
taken a few scrapes. Try not to make it any worse. Be aware, the rear diffuser has incurred some damage. Tyre condition is still looking good.
Yeah, they're not able to get past on track. They're trying their best to damage our car, as we are really struggling now with the damage. It is getting very, very difficult. This is Antonio Giovinazzi's take on things down in that corner, and his attempt at getting past there didn't really go too much better. He avoided any contact, but just completely misjudged the corner and went far too deep. So I think that's what's happening with everyone, except normally I'm parked somewhere in the way.
There's been an incident on track, but officials aren't looking to push for a safety car right now. Just be careful.
But yeah, Giovinazzi now is the biggest threat to us, so we need to watch out for him. But that is actually Lance Stroll getting past Giovinazzi, so Lance Stroll coming into the fight now and moving his way up through the points paying positions. But meanwhile up ahead, Sergio Perez has won the final race of the season. Great stuff for the Mexican race winner here in Abu Dhabi, and he will take home a bunch of points for Red Bull. That's important for their Constructors' Championship fight. But anyway, we continue with our battles on this final lap with Lance Stroll now as we head out of the chicane for the final time. This is going to be close. Lance Stroll does have a good run here, so we are going to try our best to hold this position, but he's had a lot of momentum there. This is going to be hard to fight back from. We go to the outside very late on the brakes compared to Lance Stroll, but we will hold him off. We give him very little room there on the left to make sure we can sort of pinch him in and give him a really tight line. Meanwhile, up the road, Marino Sato is going to come home in 7th position. That's a decent chunk of points for him, and we will just about do enough to hold off Lance Stroll and all of the rest of them behind. But this was an incredibly hard fought 8th position, but it is 4 points and a decent result in Abu Dhabi.
Okay, pick up rubber and bring it home.
And my goodness, was that car handling absolutely dreadfully with the diffuser and bodywork damage. that. It was a horrible experience at the end of that
It's been a
one.
roller coaster season then, but they can go into the winter with their heads held high after an emphatic victory here today. And talk to me, what do you think it was that sealed the win for them?
Well, the safety car completely changed the race, didn't it? It's hard to say exactly what would have happened without it, but there's no question that they came out of that situation in a good position.
Red Bull are our winners today after showcasing some incredible driving. There's been a huge push from them lately to stay competitive with the other teams, and they're certainly proving themselves.
So, Sergio Perez wins the final race of the season, the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. Valtteri Bottas finishes in second position with Max Verstappen in third.
So, Anthony Davidson, who would you rank as your driver of the day?
I have to give it to the scientist. Look at where they finished compared to where they started. It's not easy to cut through the field like that in Formula One, so it was a great effort.
Nothing can challenge the leaders of the Constructors' Championship at this point. But, and it's another title in the bag for Red Bull. After a long and hard-fought season, they built an astonishing car this year, and the glory they'll be taking back to Milton Keynes is fully deserved. Meanwhile, AlphaTauri's strong weekend allows them to continue their march up the table. Well, Ant, an end to another fantastic weekend of racing. Thanks to everyone who joined us, and we'll see you for the next one.
Well, smiles all round for the Red Bull family. They win the drivers, the constructors, and in the final race, both Tsunoda and Gasly both having good runs, and they are able to move themselves up another position in the Constructors' Championship. So they'll be very, very happy with proceedings here. But yeah, for us, the other Honda-powered car on the grid. Yeah, that was a really tough race. After the first hit from Carlos Sainz, that gave us a bit of diffuser damage. The car was just a mess after that, and the second one caused even more damage, and it was undrivable. It was horrific. So yeah, that was not a fun experience, I'll be honest. This race. And the same thing at the start, we got damage halfway around the first lap. Not that I knew it at the time, but that would explain why the car was handling so badly throughout for so much of that race. In total, we didn't have that many laps where the car was in fully good condition. We also had the DRS failure, which made fighting and holding off the other cars much harder, because even if we did manage to take one of the DRS lines, we couldn't use it, and we had to just rely on the slipstream to help us get back past. Thankfully it was enough, but it made things much harder for us. So yeah, it was a very scrappy race, but nonetheless we managed to come through with a decent result. Marino Sato, though, doing all the hard work really, and bringing home the 7th position. We just did our best to hold everyone else up, so he could find his way through and stretch the gap before any of them got past us. Thankfully, we managed to hold them all off and/or break all their front wings before they were able to overtake us. So I guess that works out. But anyway, let's get into the interviews for the final time this season.
The fans really seem to enjoy that. You made it look easy. You really looked in control of your car out there. Your team must be thrilled.
Yeah, it was a tough race to hold on, but we managed to.
Your teammate beat you today. Was it a setup issue or something else?
He was just better today. It was always going to be tough starting from the back, and we got some damage early on.
Great. Well, that's everything.
All right, thanks, Claire. So here we go then. What is our acclaim going to look like at the end of this year? Sato levels up to level 9. We're up to level 11. And our team acclaim ticks over to 15, so we'll get another potential sponsor slot. So that's good. Obviously some damages to the car this weekend. $8.2 million in the bank, so we will be able to sign a decent driver. So,
Team's income is looking very robust right now. It's time for you to have a think about our profit margin and what areas of the operation might benefit from that money.
let's just see what we can do in that department. But we've got a lot of stuff to get through at the end of this one, between now and the end of the season, so official end of the season, I suppose. So yeah, the first thing, I guess, activity timeline, there's only one thing we can actually put there, so we'll do that. But yeah, let's get into it. So my plan for season 2 was to sign a experienced driver, and I do have the My Team Legends, is it called? Or something like that anyway, installed. So I do have the option of signing Jenson Button here, so I'm thinking he might be a good choice. Jenson Button, his stats are very, very good, but unfortunately he declined our approach. We're not good enough for Jenson Button, and the reason is he wants Spec 2 on the chassis. So yeah, that's unfortunate, but anyway, we will have to sign someone else. So instead, we are going to sign Yuki Tsunoda. Compared to Marino Sato, Tsunoda has the same awareness, a little bit more pace, a lot more experience, and a huge amount more racecraft. 44 more racecraft than Sato. That is more than double what Sato had. And Tsunoda accepts our approach, and he will be willing to join our team. So now we have to enter the bidding war with AlphaTauri. How much do AlphaTauri still want Tsunoda? How much do we want him? And how much are we willing? How much? Well, can we actually afford to even go on with this for too long? Because we don't have a lot of extra money over his base amount. So hopefully AlphaTauri don't want him too badly. But we actually won that fairly easily. AlphaTauri were not interested apparently in fighting that one too hard. So we have signed Yuki Tsunoda to our team, and he'll be driving for us, hopefully for the entire season, assuming we don't muddle up our finances again like we have a habit of doing. Yeah, we've got a very bad record of that so far, but nonetheless, we've got Tsunoda on, so it's all good. His stats are very good, but you can see his focus is horrible, so that is something we'll need to work on. He's obviously not feeling too good about things at the moment, so hopefully moving to a new team will be able to help his focus out a lot. But anyway, let's get into everything else we need to do between now and the end of the episode. So next up, we have to sign a new sponsor. With that level 15 team acclaim, we unlock that extra slot, and we're going to go with this one, XER, or maybe just, I'm not sure. Score 5 Constructors Championship points during a race weekend. Shouldn't be too hard with the way we've been going recently, so we will add their logo to the car. Here is a quick scroll through the all the results of each race, and the championship standings. We actually finished 10th in the standings, 5th in the constructors, which is probably as high as we could have dreamed of. But yeah, we were actually overtaken by Pierre Gasly in that final round after he finished 4th in that final race, which is crazy. But anyway, to the timeline now.
We're in a position now where we're able to attract a new sponsor to the team.
We've already done that.
Head on over to the corporate tab
so yeah, we've got a
and
press
select the
interview to go to,
sponsor
so
screen to choose
let's
who we should approach.
do that.
Thanks so much for the invitation to your HQ. Let's have a little chat about the team's performance this season.
That interview clip circulating online paints your teammate in a pretty bad light. From an outsider looking in, it seems like your team's making a conscious effort to avoid talking about the issue. Why is that?
Yeah, savage. No, the internet will do internet things. That interview clip was taken entirely out of context. If you watch the full interview, you'll see there's nothing bad about it. So, yeah, there's no point talking about it.
In a recent interview, you spoke on the topic of mental health in sports, and you mentioned you were initiating a mental health program at your team HQ. What drove this decision?
Well, there's a number of different things, but at the end of the day, the better the staff are feeling, the higher the morale, and the greater things we can achieve. So it's all culminates towards the one main goal of eventually building a faster car. But there's a lot of different steps, and this is just one of them, of course. We care about the staff. We want all the best for them too.
We've heard rumours that your engineers and teammate have had a difference of opinion on where you focus your development efforts. As someone with experience as both a team manager and a driver, how do you tackle disagreements like this?
Well, it's really case by case. Sometimes the engineers know what they're talking about. Sometimes you need a driver in the car to know what's really going on. So, yeah, there's the times where you need to make decisions, and times where you need to let the engineers just do their thing.
A recent survey found that your staff have the highest employee satisfaction of all the F1 teams. That's quite the accolade. In your opinion, what makes you the best team to work for in Formula One?
Oh wow, I wasn't aware of that one, but that is really nice to hear. Well, like I mentioned in reference to mental health, we want to take care of our staff and make sure they are all in the best mindset possible.
Upgrades to your facilities seem to have stalled. Is there no more room for improvement, or are you prioritising other areas?
Well, yeah, we decided to start saving a bit of money towards the end of the season in order to make sure we can start next season on a high. We wanted to be able to sign a high quality driver, and it was very important that we made sure we could allow for that and develop our facilities more over the winter as well.
Well, thanks a lot for inviting us here. It's been fantastic.
Thank you, Will. Alright, well, looks like we've got one last department event before the end of the season in the marketing department, so let's go check that out.
The marketing department has requested your input on this one.
So, F1 Esports Finale is coming up, and to raise the profile of the event, they want Sonoda to be there. So, we can send him along. It'll give him a massive boost to his acclaim and -7 to his racecraft. But that's not too bad of a deal, to be honest. If that was focus or pace, definitely not. But racecraft, you can deal without a bit of racecraft, so we're going to go with that.
Thanks. I know these kinds of decisions can be challenging, but I think you made the right call.
Alright, well, that brings not just the video, but the whole season to an end. Of course, we'll be doing season 2 very shortly, but now we got the very satisfying little scene here at the end of all the acclaim going up, and we are both, myself and Sonoda, up to level 13, the team up to level 16, so that is all awesome stuff. We get a bunch of money for the drivers and stuff, so for the sponsor and the Constructors Championship, so that is all awesome to see as well. Almost $33 million, awesome stuff. Interesting stat from the season, we did get one pole position, so that was probably the highlight. That was a Spa on a drying track, so interesting conditions at the time, but still a highlight of the season. But yeah, other than that then, I don't think there's much else left to cover, so I'll say thank you so much for watching all the way to the end. Feel free to give me some feedback in the comments, I'd really appreciate it, and I will see you later.